Good morning. Well, it is a good morning. What's it going to do today? It's going to rain. That is a good morning in the desert. My name's Rich. I'm one of the members of the Board of Trustees, and I'm here today to read a few announcements to you. I'm going to first start by saying December 1st. It's a few weeks from now. It's going to be a couple weeks from now. It's going to be a really, really big day around here. Bring some money, and there's a few different reasons. Number one, religious education is beginning to collect donations for Project Link, and this is a local organization that helps homeless high school students and their families. There is a donation box in the foyer. I haven't looked yet in the RE Great Room, but I'm certain there is. It's a large donation box, so I don't think it's limited to strictly cash donations. I think they'll take clothing and things that they can use. So in addition to that, on December 1st, the RE kids are going to have a bake sale to help raise money for Project Link. And they are calling for all bakers. How many people bake here? Raise your hand. Oh, I see a lot of hands down. I know you bake. My wife's hands down. I know she bakes. All bakers are requested to please donate food for this December 1st bake sale. And all you need to do is bring the food before December 1st. Bring it into the RE Great Room before it's going to be served on December 1st. And the proceeds, again, will go to Project Link. Another reason to bring money. There will be a book sale in the library on December 1st, okay? Let's see if they have anything else about that. Bring cash. That's all it says. There will be a book sale in the library. That's all the information I have. And Elwin, sitting in the back there, he's told me he has already made all these chocolates. Oh, yeah. So his most excellent chocolates are also going to be for sale on December 1st. So 3 big events going on December 1st. We have the kids' RE bake sale, we have the book sale going on in the library, and Elwin's going to be selling his truffles. In addition, we have a Death Cafe meeting this Thursday evening between 6:30 and 8 p.m. And it says here it will meet in the foyer library, so it's either in one or the other. Because you can't be in 2 places at once if you're not any place at all, right? Okay, the focus this month will be say my name and tell my story, or you can just be there and share what you wish to share or listen if that's what you want to do. And finally, Thanksgiving Day dinner. Plan now to celebrate Thanksgiving with your church family. We'll gather at 1 p.m. on Thursday, November 28th in the RE building. It's a potluck affair. So be thinking about what you'd like to contribute to the meal. Reservations are required, and you need to talk to Jan Thompson. Jan, are you? Okay, I don't see Jan. But Jan wants to know if you're going to attend and probably what you're going to bring. Okay, I think that does it for today's announcements.
Okay, our gathering song is number 170. Mark Sikonarak and Katie Fitzgerald will be singing, "We Are a Gentle, Angry People."
Yeah, you can quote it. I get my own mic.
Oh, okay. I thought I'd squeeze in with you there.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
You get that one.
Oh,
I got mine.
that mic. Okay.
Kathy, you want to start the piano?
I don't need a
And
mic.
please rise. Father your spirit.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing
for our lives.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. People, and we are singing for singing people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young and old together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are young of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives.
Thank you, Mark.
Please remember to put your electronic devices in worship mode. Thank you. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Las Cruces. We welcome those of you in the sanctuary this morning, especially the children, and those who are joining us on streaming technology. I'm Rabbit Loring. I'm your service associate today. Our minister, Reverend Rod Thompson, is not in the pulpit today. Our service leader is Katie Fitzgerald. Our director of religious education is Kelly Ingram. Our director of music, Catherine Massey, is on vacation in Ireland right now. Room to Rome is our special music guest today. Our church administrator is Nancy Zacharias. Assisting us with technology today, Claire Neal Wallace on audio, Mike Yasko on YouTube streaming technology, and Elwin Nunn on camera. Our chalice table was prepared by Diane Lee and Jillian Lang. Our live stream and graphics designer is Mike Yasko. Pay attention to those, are really amazing what he can do. Our greeters today are Carol Stanfill, Diane Lee, and Tom Packard. Hospitality today is offered by the Finance Committee. And we're all delighted that you are here with us today. If you're visiting today, we'd like to meet you. If you're in the sanctuary, please rise in body or spirit. Tell us your name and where you're from. But wait till I bring you the microphone. Do we have any visitors in the sanctuary? Okay. Yes. Let's see.
The farthest journey for the microphone.
The farthest, back and work forward. Okay, microphone is on.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hannah Lumen. I just moved here from Kansas City, Kansas, so I'm following this church's founder and going Kansas to Las Cruces. And I'm settled in and hoping to be here every Sunday. So it's a pleasure to meet you all.
Hi, I'm Tristan Harpold, and this is my wife, Triana Valagura. And we just 6 months ago moved back to Las Cruces from Washington State. And she is originally from Las Cruces, and she wanted to come back and join the church. So,
Hi, I'm Katie, and I'm actually just,
Put it closer to you.
and I'm not much more shy than them. And I'm just here relocated for 3 months for a job, and so it's nice to have a small community, even if it's just once a week. Thanks.
Anybody else back here? Oh, here we go.
Hi, my name is Amore, and this is my Nana.
Yes, or Nana.
We're so glad we could be here today, and I want to thank you all for loving this church.
Hi, I'm Ayan Muchnick, and I've been here for your parties and your concerts, but never for a service. And I'm here supporting my buddy and birthday buddy, Rabbit.
Well, thank you all and welcome. Do we have any visitors on streaming technology today? Not any. Okay. Well, we are pleased that you've joined us for the service. Please fill out a visitor's card so that we can send you emails, invite you to other activities. If you don't have a card, there are some more in the lobby. If you're a shy visitor, but you're still curious about our church, please fill out a visitor's card also, and we will extend you all the same invitations. Unitarian Universalism has no creed or dogma. We're a covenant-based church, meaning that we agree to live in relationship with one another according to the Unitarian Universalist principles and our congregation's covenant of respectful relations. We embrace diversity in all its forms. Everyone is welcome here. You can learn more about our church at our website, UUCLC.org. And please join us after the service for coffee and conversation down the breezeway, inside or outside the Religious Education Great Room.
Good morning. I'm Katie Fitzgerald, a member of the Respectful Relations team at this church. And if our friend Kevin Fitzgerald were here today, he'd be asking you, do you know what day it is? Well, while the UUA honors the November 20th as the Transgender Day of Remembrance, here at our church, we celebrate it on Sunday, and it will be today. Forgive me, but in the next few minutes, I'm going to use what I call swear words. So please, if you are sensitive, cover your ears. I'm going to need some help, and Sarah is going to be my helper. Thank you, Sarah, in advance, because I know this is an arduous duty for you. The first of my swear words is misogyny, bigotry, homophobia. Unfortunately, we're not strangers to these words. Discrimination, hate. Here at the UUCLC and in our faith, we have the first principle. All of us respect the inherent dignity of everyone. So we are the counterbalance for each of these words, each of these evil words, we must replace with words like compassion. And instead of love, instead of hate, we offer love. And instead of homophobia, we offer kindness. And instead of bigotry, caring. And instead of misogyny, respect. That is what we're called to do. Our Zia, our flame, the fire of commitment calls for us to live out our covenant, not just here on a Sunday. And they're not just words, they are actions. We are called to action, not just one day of the year, but all days of the year, to take these words and put them into action so we dispel the darkness.
Our chalice lighting words this morning are from Lee Kinvey. This chalice is for the living, the changing, the becoming. This chalice is for losing the script of your life, the chapters about who you are in other people's stories. This chalice is for the lost GPS that was supposed to show you how to get where they expected you to go. This chalice is for skipping the directions, coloring outside the lines, painting not by number, but by silence, by wild abandon, with a brush you made yourself from light deep inside. Startling, vivid, a new voice that already knows you, finally, a true story. Please rise and body your spirit and join me in saying our church's affirmation of covenant and singing the doxology in English and Spanish. The words are on the screen. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another.
Skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace and will on earth be sung through every land by every tongue. De todos bajo el consol, surra esperanza fe amor, verdad veles a la canción de cada tierra, cada voz.
Now it's time for all ages. Our time for all ages today is from a beautiful book, Authentic Selves, Celebrating Trans and Non-Binary People and Their Families. These are stories from several trans and non-binary young people in their own words. Angel Castro says, I've known for as long as I can remember that I am trans. There's one memory I always find myself returning to, probably my earliest recollection of anything related to gender expression. I was very young, must have been before even starting kindergarten. I was with my family and a family friend at an indoor gym where parents would bring their kids to play. The friend was a girl a bit older than me, someone I looked to as a role model. She and I were in a room that was all about letting kids use their imagination. There were stuffed animals, different kinds of make-believe sets. Most importantly, a chest full of all kinds of clothes. Sifting through that chest, I was mostly unimpressed with its contents until I pulled out a long, flowy dress. I was captivated by it. I put it on and it fit perfectly. I can remember the joy that welled up in my heart. I loved who I was in that moment. I danced around the room and felt like I could have been flying. But there was something awry about that happiness I was feeling, something forbidden even. I was a boy after all. I would eventually have to leave the place and leave that dress behind, leaving freedom behind with it. I couldn't let that happen. The next thing I remember was hiding in a closet behind a wall of stuffed animals. In the darkness of that moment, I determined that this feeling was something to keep hidden, and so I did, or at least tried to. Ben McLaughlin says, "I don't believe that people grow up so much as they grow outward. Every experience we have reshapes the lens that we use to see both our past and future experiences. We add layers onto layers like paint on canvas. When I think about myself, I don't think in terms of boundaries and fractures. It feels more like a palette. I see each moment as its own composition and recognize that not all compositions require an entire spectrum of colors. I also recognize that every composition is a process of visions and revisions. As Antoine de Saint-Exupéry once said, to live is to be slowly born." Rhett Bloom says, "To younger people who are just starting to discover themselves, don't feel bad about trying on different labels or different identities. Explore yourself and keep exploring yourself to find what makes you feel most comfortable. If you stick to a name or certain pronouns for a while and down the line they no longer feel right, please don't be scared to change your mind. You are still discovering yourself, and you are allowed to take as long as you need to do that." Mac Thomas says, "When Mom asked me, 'What does it mean to you to be trans? What do you feel like?' I said, 'I feel most comfortable when I view myself as a guy, and other people look at me and view me as a man. I don't feel comfortable in this female persona that I was given at birth.' It took a while to get that point across to my mom, but after I started transitioning socially and telling more people in my life, including my extended family, it started to become more apparent how happy I am when I can present as the person I am. I want every trans kid to hear these words: you are completely and totally worthy of love no matter what. You should not settle for anything less than unconditional love. Be aware that it's going to take a second to figure out who you are, but as you figure it out, you deserve to love yourself and you deserve to be loved. Your gender identity does not take anything away from that." Robert Williams says, "My main advice for parents of trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming children is to take the time to understand them. It's okay to be afraid, but don't let that fear of knowing who your child really is deter you from maintaining a loving relationship with them. They are still the same person. The only difference is that they have found a place of gender euphoria in themselves, and they want to share with you. Meet them there." Thank you. Do the children's blessing.
May your mind be open to new learning. May your lips bring truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace.
With the children.
Mind be May your lips speak truth into the world. May your heart know love and your hands do the work of justice as you go your way in peace. Before we see this video, let me put it into context. As I mentioned earlier, we recognize today as our Transgender Day of Remembrance. And as we consider the first principle, we respect the inherent dignity and worth of each and every individual. Our congregation displays with pride Black Lives Matter, Brown Lives Matter, and a sign outside of our church. It's quite large. You can see it as you drive along Solano Drive. And I say to you this morning, trans lives matter. This video will help all of us with a little bit of empathy. Gain a little bit of empathy. We're going to walk a mile in others' shoes, or in this case, in their high heels.
So I was in a shopping mall and maybe 3 or 4 guys approached me at the register. They got in cars. And so I'm walking through the parking lot, and so now there are like 2 cars kind of following me. And I had a bag, and I kind of went like that, and it hit his car. So he stops, he gets out. He said, I should shoot you right now. You touch my car, you effing man. You know, I should kill you right now. He was very serious because at this point they're very, very angry and laughing. Honestly, I thought I was gonna die. Trans Day of Remembrance for me, TDOR, holds a very special meaning to me because it reminds me that there are other people like myself who are no longer here. You know, especially with the recent incident that happened in Bushwick, that happened a block away from me. Where the trans woman was beaten with a 2x4 on her way home, and that I live right there. You know, it could be me.
For me, growing up, I was raised in New York City's broken foster care system. Even through the pain that I faced from abuse in that family, and sexual abuse, and physical abuse, emotional, mental, it was still the moment, I think, of teaching me how to survive. And so for me, I remember like sleeping on the subway station, and I was telling myself, so what's the next step? Because I knew going back home wasn't going to be my reality. Transgender Day of Remembrance, I feel, is highlighting the lives that oftentimes while living on earth they felt disposable. And I think it's giving a voice to a lot of people who had to live in a time where their voice and their life didn't matter. So I feel that we're taking out the time not to just show the world that we care as a community, but I think on a global level, it's showing that the time is now to understand that trans lives matter. And I think for me, it's so important because I could be the next one, right? And like, I think a lot of people don't really focus on that, how you can be the next person, just a victim of violence, because it's not by, you can be a millionaire, you can be a billionaire, you can be successful, but the reality and the lived experience of being someone trans on this earth is that you're someone trying to be perceived as someone you're not. So I think it's really showing everyone that those people who you said didn't matter, they do matter.
It was a dark period in my life where I was living in the United States as an undocumented person, which is a whole different reality than having documentation. And I have a history of substance abuse, so I was very deep into doing heavy drugs, and I ended up in jail, and I ended up in treatment and with a deportation order, and it was a very dark time for me. And the beginning of the light came when I found my community. For me, Transgender Day of Remembrance is a reality that I live mostly every day. Every day that I personally experience violence, or like, as I told you, I have 300 patients, so it doesn't go one day by that somebody don't come to me with a story about around violence and being mistreated. For those that are still here, what I would say is, don't get used to this. This is not supposed to happen. Don't, I talk to friends and I go like, hey, I talk to friends on the phone from Argentina and I go like, hey, what happened with so and so? And they go, oh, she was killed. Like it's something normal. Like it's something to be expected. Like it's something that is okay. And that's what we cannot let happen. This is not normal. This is not supposed to happen. Don't get used to violence.
Since this film was made in the United States alone, there have been, in the last decade, 285 reported murders of transgender individuals. Those are the reported ones, the identified ones. I think we can all agree there are probably others, unreported or not identified. One is too many. For meditation today, I offer number 501 from our Singing the Living Tradition, written by Frederick E. Gillis. If you have a hymnal, you may want to read along in your head voice, or if you want to speak it with me, I would appreciate that. Each of those in the film talked about community. It is a word that is so important to all of us, I think. Spirit of community in which we share and find strength and common purpose. We turn our minds and hearts toward one another, seeking to bring into our circle of concern all who need our love and support, those who are ill, those who are in pain, either in body or in spirit, those who are lonely, those who have been wronged. We are part of a web of life that makes us one with all humanity, one with all the universe. We are grateful for the miracle of consciousness that we share, the consciousness that gives us the power to remember, to love, to care.
One of the ways we support each other in community is through the sharing of joys and sorrows and milestones. In these challenging times, it's crucial that we make attempts to stay connected to one another. If you have a joy, a sorrow, or a milestone that you'd like to share with the congregation this morning, please raise your hand and I will bring the microphone to you. State your name and what's in your heart.
Sarah Thomas. A great joy was that we recently, Rabbit and I just finished our class on authentic selves based on the book that's the common read for the UUA, the most important book of the year. And we did a class together on it, and many of you were in it, and we found it very emotional and uplifting, and we decided we'll do it again in the spring. So.
Hello, my name is Mary Armstrong. My sorrow is that nearly 20 years ago, when I was transitioning, I really had very little concern about the things that we are going to be seeing in the next administration. Life seems to be on the upswing. Things were going great. I felt like I would be accepted as a normal woman. And things have turned. And the other thing I want to mention is that there was a very good article in the Sun News this morning about the issues that trans people are going to face in the next administration. The one thing that was left out is the threat of violence. And the threat of violence is going to be much greater. We saw it in his first administration, and we're going to see it, I think, much worse this time.
Good morning, I'm Julie Woody. Many of you know me. I've been a member of this church for almost 50 years, but nobody's counting. I can't count that high. My joy is that I've been a member of the choir for the 26 years that Catherine has been here. My sorrow is that she is retiring or leaving. I will miss her greatly, as I know many of you will. She has taught us how to sing. She's taught us how to sing harmony, how to sing in rounds, how to sing with great energy and joy, and that will truly be missed. Know that Catherine was not planning on retiring. She has been pushed out, as some other people in our staff have been. And what I would ask you is, the covenant that we keep with one another has not always been given to our staff. We have a covenant of right relations. I would ask you, as all of us are keepers of that covenant, when you see that it is broken, please step up and help bring people back into covenant and be together. I will miss Catherine. Thank you.
My name is Greg White. I've been a member of the church for 2 years, and my joy is that in this community, I have found the ability to speak my truth and to find other people speaking their truth, and I see it respected. I find in this community the words, and not just the words, but the actions. And I find not just the words and not just the actions, but multiple ways in which words and actions can become affirmative, can become joyous. And I use this church when I go home, and I use this church when I go out into my other organizations that I participate in, and I use this church when I go to the grocery store, and I use this church when I'm driving down the road to remind myself that I have a valid voice and that it's respected. I read something the other day. It's, don't go to places where you're tolerated. Go to places where you're celebrated. And today's service, as with many other services, give that to us. So my joy is I found this church.
Are there any other?
Hello, everyone. My name is Claire Neal Wallace. I have been a lifelong UU, been a member of this church as long as I've lived here. I wanted to express a joy. I know I came back last week, and I was hoping we would do joys and sorrows then, but we'll do it a week late. Joy that I'm back. I'm glad to be back. glad to not be working 80 hours a week. But such is life and such as working elections. And I guess sort of a mixed blessing as well, as towards the future, because we have this great threat coming with this incoming administration to our trans community, and you know, I know that I'm afraid of my access to healthcare, biggest overall, but I'm also hopeful. It also makes me feel hopeful seeing this community come together for, you know, a service like this, and for the wonderful support I've gotten from everybody in this church. And I think there is a wonderful community of people out there across the country who will step up and will fight when the time comes, which the time is coming now. We got about 90 days, something like that. But yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Elvira Mason. I'm a lifelong UU and a member of this church for 30 years now. And I'm the proud mother of a trans son. And some of you may not know that when you transition, there's a lot of legal aspects to that too. And at the beginning of this year, I said to my son, sweetie, you know, there's an election coming up, and I want to make sure that you've completed all of the legal actions that you need to take. And although Tuesday the 5th was a pretty dark day, in the mail that evening came the last piece of paperwork from the state of Massachusetts, which was his revised birth certificate. And so now we have checked all the boxes, and he's got that little protection, that little bit of safety locked in. So just wanted to share that.
Hi, I'm Ion Muchnick, and my voice has gotten deeper over the years, hasn't it? Anyway, so my name used to not be Ion, but anyway, I was grateful for the fact that the VA actually said for us to come up with a program to help people in this area with transitioning, and then I was really sad when I found out that it was just words. That blah, 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 5 years later, it's just words. And when I spoke up to the power, there's retaliation from that. And I figured, what are they going to do, fire me? I'm really old enough to collect Social Security next month, right? So, like, that's fine too, but so we got to just keep pushing and not give up the fight. Thank you.
I'm Dave Steele, and I have a sorrow, and that sorrow is that we will be losing Catherine, and I'm not privy to any of the direct communications about the circumstances surrounding that. All I know is that we do have some people who are hurting, some people whose feathers feel ruffled, and I feel sad about that because this is a wonderful community to be part of. When Eileen and I first came here 12 years ago, after, I've said this many times, after over 40 years of being unchurched and happily unchurched, in large part it was the choir and Catherine that brought us back. And I just hope and pray that we will have a choir to continue to enjoy and to uplift our spirits in our services. So thank you.
Well, I have a concern. I know that Catherine was not ready to retire, so I don't know what happened. I don't, like Dave says, we don't know the ins and outs of what happened. But I just have a funny feeling that something is not right. And I would like somebody to explain to me what. I know it's personnel and you're not supposed to talk about that, and that's a good out. But there's something wrong.
I'm Peggy Devlin, and I too have a sorrow that Catherine is leaving.
Good morning, everyone. I just have a personal something to say about two members of this church that have helped me out in a very, very horrible part of my life. And that is Dave Rice and Hale Huber. And they have just been absolutely wonderful to me with their guidance and their love. And I want to just personally and publicly thank them for all their help. And one more thing. It's my husband's 47th wedding anniversary today. Thank you all. Thank you.
My name is Jane Ash, and I have been a member of this church for about 24 years. I am deeply saddened to lose Catherine. And in the wake of this, I hope that we will all think very seriously about some of the services that have been conducted, about deep listening, hearing all sides of a story, or hearing the many stories that accompany any event where there have been major misunderstandings and miscommunications. And I hope that we will grow in this area.
Thank you. I have a sorrow and a joy all packed together, as many of us do. I lost my husband 2 years ago to cancer, and yesterday would have been our 33rd anniversary. And so my son flew in from Chicago, and we went out and had a big chocolate cake in his honor, and it was wonderful to have him with me.
Linda, no?
Good morning. My name is, as my granddaughter calls me, Nana, and my daughter had introduced me to this church 2024. And my joy is that every morning on Sunday is to see her sparkle and her light, and tells me, Nana, today is my church day. So I'm blessed that I'm able here to bring her on Sunday when my daughter can't. So usually I try to bring her, and that's her joy. As you can see, she's a very talkative, and she's very friendly, but thank you for being so kind.
My name is Lucy. I'm a fairly new member of the church compared to some of you. I had the experience of being in the Authentic Selves book club. And I come from a family where I was specifically told to keep a secret about a niece's lesbian identity years ago because my sister, her mother, thought that she would not be accepted in the family. And she since came out, got married, and has been accepted. And I recently learned that she is now identifying as he and a trans person. And I'm just stumbling and realizing how much I still have to learn. So I've informed Rabbit I want to be in the next book club because I'm still stumbling and calling her, she, and I'm not even sure how to address her, she. he has been very generous with me and telling me, reminding me that I shouldn't say the word sissy to her, which I use as a term of affection for many people, including he now. So, like I say, I'm still learning, and I'm excited to be looking forward to this next book club to get more information. So, thank you.
Have we, Linda?
Hi, I'm Linda Rochella. I have been a Unitarian Universalist for more than 40 years. I've been a member of 7 Unitarian Universalist churches, and my sorrow is that this is the first out of 7 churches that I've been to where people have brought up internal church politics during the course of a Joys and Sorrow, which is meant to be sharing news about individuals in the corporation, especially today when we have such a topic of dealing with Trans Day of Remembrance and the sorrows. This is just not the forum for this. There are many other forums, and I am sorry that this has to be the first church where these divisions are brought up in the middle of a church service. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing us back to our topic for today. This is the Transgender Day of Remembrance service, and thank you all for your sharing. And I will light one other candle for those joys and sorrows not expressed that you may be holding in your hearts. And remember, we all have hopes and dreams and worries. Remember this, and let's treat each other with patience and with love.
Thanks for having us today. If any of you want to join in singing, I think the words are going to be projected. And I'm hoping that you're going to find it appropriate. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It's easier to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if we can for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Thank you, Kelly, Laura, Bob. I'm having a hard time with the notion of trans. I look in the mirror. I don't like this gray-haired version. Trust me, I don't. I see myself more as a Katy Perry. I mean, internally, I'm that, but I recognize that the years go on, and I am who I am. I didn't arrive on this planet till I was 30, so I'm a late bloomer, you know, but I've always known about my sexuality. I am who I am in that regard. That one piece I knew. But the rest of it has taken a long time to develop. So in thinking about today, I used the video that we all saw earlier, and I've been through some other sources provided from UUA and other things. And I kept coming back to a quote from Shakespeare. Man, the man lived, what, 1,000 years ago? And a lot of his things just seem to be so relevant to so much of our lives. To thine own self be true. To thine own self be true. And that's so apt for trans. So you might ask, well, Katie, why are you speaking today? It doesn't fit you. Well, I have 3 very good reasons, and I'll tell you about them in a little bit. The first one is Jamie. Jamie was a member of our congregation who passed away this past summer. And I'm not claiming that I knew Jamie well, but what I did know, I liked a lot. And we didn't talk about her transition. We didn't talk about her sexuality. What we talked about were the things that she was interested in. Talk about a Renaissance woman. I mean, oh, yeah. Her art, her skiing, the construction projects she got involved in, the different places that she had lived. And then the movement from there to here and around it was just incredible. And then how she found herself in Las Cruces and then in this church. She was just so interesting. It was just a remarkable human being. When Bill and I moved to the Southwest, for as long as his mother was alive, we continued to go back to Massachusetts for the December holidays. But our first stop wasn't the Fitzgeralds. The first stop was the Pelletiers, Danny and Maureen. And a few years ago, we had an auction that some of you may remember was a breakfast auction. I remember them by the food. Pancakes and sausage. And Danny and Maureen helped us with the food because we had known them for 25 years. We did a lot of camping with them, and they knew how to man the grill. They knew how to serve large crowds, et cetera, et cetera. Well, Bill and Danny were Elks together back in Massachusetts, and over time, we started to call them brothers from another mother. And the families were pretty close. We'd do events together, and they had 2 kids. And the younger of the 2, Amy, the last day she was Amy was the day of her brother's wedding. She was Ryan from then on. And we were very close to Amy's transition to Ryan, as you might imagine, camping together. And then when we moved here to the Southwest, first stop would be the Pelletiers, and there was always the seafood feast because we missed our seafood after moving out here when we could get it fresh there. And Ryan loved the way Bill cooked mussels and clams and lobster. I mean, the list goes on. So as soon as Ryan got off to work, he would come to his parents' house, and we would begin to feast. And that was the kickoff for Ryan's holiday celebration, was when the Fitzgeralds came to town. And it was part of ours, too. It became an annual tradition. Ryan couldn't afford what we could provide, in part, but they were also commonalities and sense of humor and just the general gist of life. Ryan had a hard time transitioning because he chose to stay in his hometown, unlike the women in the video who found a different milieu. Ryan stayed right there in Ludlow, Massachusetts, a blue-collar town. And oh my golly, everybody knew about the transition, which made it that much more difficult for him. Going to the Elks, which restroom do I use, Mom? This was particularly sensitive at early transition because there was privacy in the girls, but Ryan was dressing as a guy, and that became a real brouhaha because, oh my God. And there was a little bit of shoving and pushing and let me take you outside and I'll show you where to go. That got smoothed over in part because Dan was an officer of the Elks, and you don't mess with my kid. But it was difficult. Ryan's grandparents, to the day they died, Ryan was Amy. That was hard. Very, very hard. And there were folks in the extended family, especially those from Canada, the French-Canadian side, never could accept Ryan as Ryan. When we moved west, Ryan had been going through a number of what I would call kind of menial jobs, never quite finding his niche in the working world. And so we offered, why don't you come? We've got extra bedrooms. You could come and live with us till you find work that appeals to you. There's jobs galore. Was into the restaurant and that whole thing where you supply restaurants, that kind of. And no, I don't want to be that far away from family. Family, well, okay, whatever, but know that you can. Well, over the years, love life suffered big time. But to this day, Ryan's done real well for himself. He now has a job that's very secure with benefits. They love him, he loves it, and he has a future. Really, really solid future in that way. He's also has a partner. They've purchased a home in Springfield, an old house that needs a lot of work. I don't think we're going back to Massachusetts anytime soon, so Bill is not going to get involved in that one. And So that's exciting too. There's a wedding coming up. That part is going well. A coterie of friends that know them both, which is very helpful. And so Ryan's on solid ground, which makes all of us who love him very happy. Still worried, but happy. That was reason number 2. The third reason, I have to take you back over 30 years ago. Bill's younger brother, Mike, and his wife, Deborah, sent us a Christmas card. And there's the usual thing you have, Deborah and Mike and Tim and I forget the other son. And then there was a question mark. Question mark? What's that? Well, Deborah was pregnant. Max. What a cute little guy. Blonde hair. Beautiful complexion. Grew up to have the face and long hair. You would swear this child, well, Michelangelo was too long ago, but could have served as a model for the angels on the Sistine Chapel. This is how this Max grew up. In a village in western Massachusetts. He was a very quiet kid. He loved rabbits. He loved to garden. He had a very self-contained kind of existence. Went to a daycare that was small, run by his mom. Went to a very liberal elementary school in Amherst. Kind of lived life the way he wanted to live, played the way he wanted to play, usually solo, not a lot of friends. Didn't become a big deal. Went to a relatively large middle school, no big deal, because he was a loner. He was kind of like a geek, a nerd. Nobody bothered him. He didn't make waves. Until he went to community college and wanted to be known as Maya, and made it clear that his identity now was as a female. His parents weren't surprised at all. They knew from the time he was a toddler that he wasn't like their other sons. He had a different identity. Well, the saving grace for Maya was Grandma got on board. My mother-in-law, she was a force to be reckoned with. Maya was it, and she even got her pronouns right. God love her. That was great. I still have problems with pronouns, but Maya. It was wonderful. But extended family, Fitzgerald family Christmas, do you not think there were a few raised eyebrows and a couple of snickers here and there? And the older brothers didn't do a bit of bullying? Well, you expect that from older brothers with a younger sibling, but this took on a different tone, a very different tone. Well, I'm very happy to tell you now that Maya's in her late 30s. She had dropped out of community college, and like Ryan, she had gone through a number of jobs. Bakery was a big one because there was no contact with people. It was something that she could fit hours around. But now she's got a different major. She's gone to the university and is in her senior year. She house sits for her father. Both parents have separated, and Dad's seen the USA in his retirement and feels comfortable leaving Maya to take care of the house, and seems that she's settled in with a new group of friends who see her as Maya and no one else. So, happy days for Maya. Future seems assured in her new major, and it's in a field where she's sure to find employment in Western Massachusetts. She, like Ryan, stayed close to home, but her home is in a different kind of community than Ludlow, Mass. A little different end of the spectrum. So she's reason 3 why I wanted to talk about this topic today. these 3 lives, very personal to me, and if any of them had had any level of severe violence, I can't imagine the reaction that Bill and I would have had, because they're all such gentle souls, the 3 of them. It would have been devastating to those of us who love them, those of us who respect them, those of us who want the best for them. And so when I look at the video and I compound it with the 300 lives in the last decade in our country, I multiply that with all of the people who loved each of those victims, and it's insupportable. It's just beyond imagining. So today, I urge you to do whatever you can, as individuals and as a group, to help up the ante in terms of advocacy and speaking out. Inform yourselves. We talked about this book, Let Your Voices Be Heard. There are other books in display in the lobby. Become educated yourself. We talked about the class being offered in the spring. This is our day of remembrance. It's our day to consider all of those who've lost their lives in our country and around the world for just the simple thing of trying to be true to themselves, trying to be all that they were meant to be. The theme that we have been pursuing as a church for the month of November is called Repair. And I'd like to conclude with the following from Reverend David McFarland. It's called Practice Repair. Bless generously, curse rarely, practice repair. Read a book or a blog, or watch a movie about something or some situation or someone beyond the ability to relate. Practice repair. Lean into comfort zones, strengths, and inklings of bliss. Practice repair. Pause to ask whether words are both skillful and absolutely necessary. Practice repair. Let go of stubborn self-righteousness and have mercy. Practice repair. Honor the ancestors who could not have imagined our lives or even our very being. Practice repair. Smile. Practice repair. Multiply joy. Divide sorrow. Practice repair. With the tools at hand, practice repair. Perhaps I have tools you could borrow. Perhaps you could lend me yours. And together, we can practice repair. While we cannot repair the loss incurred through death, we can seek to understand more completely through reading, listening, learning, using the tools at hand to help repair our beloved community. May it be so.
The operation of our church and the outreach needs your input and your contributions. This is the perfect time to think of what you can give back. In a moment, the greeters will pass among you with offering baskets. Please give generously. But before that, I should remind you that we also support organizations identified by the Social Justice Committee with our Change for Change program. This quarter's recipient for Change donations is Coats for Kids. You can give to them by putting your change in the basket or writing Change for Change on the note line of your check. please give generously. Thank you. Our closing hymn is number 1021, Lean on Me.
All right, lean on me. Gonna need a little help from the congregation with this one as we get going. Huh? If you'd like, you're welcome to stand or sit as you were. I just need some claps. Our accompaniment wasn't here for this, so we're all gonna do this together. Sometimes in our lives we all have pain, we all have sorrow, but if we are wise, we know that there's always tomorrow. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I help you carry on. Oh, it won't be long. till I'ma need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I might have a problem that you'd understand. We just need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I help you carry on, for it won't be long. I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'd understand. We all need somebody to lean on. If there's a load you have to bear that you can't carry, yeah, right up the road, I'll share your load. If you just call me, call me, call me. Thank you so much.
Byron's going to read the closing words.
Whoa, that's some energy. Good energy. I love it. This is a prayer for the Trans Day of Visibility by Barb Grieve. Blessed are the trailblazers who brought us this far and are still trailblazing, still celebrating. Blessed are the drag queens and kings who remind us not to take life too seriously. Blessed are the gender benders, non-binary, gender fluid, and third gender folk, those who challenge us to reframe our gender paradigm. Blessed are the young ones who present fearlessly from the start. Blessed are their parents who make space for freedom and love their children fiercely. Blessed are the siblings and relatives who educate, support, and love us as we are. Blessed are the genderqueer youth who are struggling and persist. Blessed are the 90-year-olds just coming out and those who have been out decades. Blessed are those whose lives were cut too short. May their stories live on through us. Blessed are the survivors. May they keep on living. Blessed are the allies learning to be accomplices. Blessed are those gathered here today, witnessing, learning, celebrating. May we all commit to continue showing up, fighting for justice, celebrating all the genders in life.
Please join me in saying the words to extinguish the flame. These words are on the screen. This flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Traveling at night, the headlights were bright, and we'd been up many an hour. And all through my brain came the refrain of home and its warm and fire. And home sings me of sweet things. My life there has its own wings to fly over the mountain. Though I'm standing still, the people I've seen, they come in between the cities of tiring light. The trains come and go, but inside, you know, the struggle will soon be a fight. Home sings me of sweet things. My life there has its own wings to fly over the mountain. Though I'm standing still, home sings me of sweet things. My life there has its own wings to fly over the mountains. Though I'm standing still, traveling at night, the headlights were bright, but soon the sun came through the trees. Around the next bend, the flowers will send the sweet smell of home in the breeze. And home sings me of sweet things. My life there has its own wings to fly over the mountains. Though I'm standing